Well, the weekend has come to an end, but we do not end things here. So today's episode is going to be a very special one. If you guys are big fans of the UK wrestling scene, well, you're in luck. We're going to be doing reviews from three events from two promotions. Now, this events took place on the weekend before, of course, Forbidden Door, which, of course, is a collaboration between New Japan and AEW. Now, these events, of course, are from all women's British promotion Pro Wrestling Eve, featuring, of course, many matches called the Eve and the World. And they have two number one contendership matches, one, of course, for the Eve Championship and the other one for the International Championship. But the main event features, of course, the Eve Championship. Nightshade defends her title against former AEW Women's World Champion Nyla Rose. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But the last two events, these are a two-day event by British Pro Wrestling event promotion RevPro, or as Revolution Pro Wrestling, with the 13th anniversary show. Day one, of course, features the Global Wars UK. We not only have wrestlers from RevPro, but we even got wrestlers from AEW/Ring of Honor, CML, New Japan. And then, of course, we have the day two with the actual 13th anniversary show. Many title matches, but the main event features, of course, the title versus career. This one features, of course, Ricky Knight Jr., as you all know him, as the nephew of Saray, formerly known as Paige. He defends his championship against Shaw Samuels. Now, Shaw Samuels put his career on the line, so if he loses, well, that's the end of him. So this is going to be one heck of a match, and there's plenty other things as well that I can't wait to review. And then finally, of course, we have our news updates. We'll give you guys updates on what's been happening in the world of wrestling, such as what events the promotions are thrown out, who's booked, what matches are set, including developments that are happening in the world of wrestling as we speak. So, let's get ready for another episode of the Beat It Wrestle Zone.
Are you ready? Get up, get up! 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 Get up, get up!
Hey everyone, welcome to the Beat It Wrestle Zone, all things that is pro wrestling with AEW, NXT, New Japan Pro Wrestling, TNA, the National Wrestling Alliance, various promotions, wrestlers, matches, and championships. I am your host, J-Rod here. So, if you are new to the channel, welcome. This is a channel we do a lot of pro wrestling reviews from various promotions, not only here in the United States, from promotions from Japan, Mexico, Canada, Europe, the UK, anywhere in the world. Pro wrestling is not as big, but it continues to grow. We also, of course, do discussion videos, talk about various topics such as the wrestlers themselves, the promotions, factions, storylines, whatever we want to talk about. We also, of course, do more news updates. If certain information was unable to be on this episode, we can either put it on the next one or on a separate video by itself. We also, of course, do real-time news updates to keep you guys on alert if something has happened in the world of wrestling that needs to be addressed ASAP. We also, of course, got the Unagi Sayaka watch and various other cool wrestling content as well. So if you like what you see, please subscribe to us or click on that subscribe button. You'll be getting a lot of daily reviews and other cool wrestling content as well. But if you like this episode, please give us a like on the like button or a nice comment in the description down below. Now, enough of the jibber jabbers. Let's get this party started. So, as I said earlier, if you guys are big fans of the British wrestling scene, you're in luck. It's all about, of course, the Pro Wrestling Eve and RevPro. So let's begin, of course, with Pro Wrestling Eve. Okay, Pro Wrestling Eve. Now, if you guys are not familiarized with this promotion, this is an all-women's British wrestling promotion. So basically, it's all women's there, but it's not just basically the ladies from the UK, but we have also wrestlers coming from other places like Canada, Mexico, Japan, places where, of course, pro wrestling exists, and they come here. And this happened on the 23rd of August, which is the day before Forbidden Door. The name of the event is called Eve and the World. And this one features, of course, 2 #1 contenderships and, of course, a championship match. So we're going to go through all of it. So our first match, we have a #1 contendership for the Eve Championship. Now, this is, of course, the top title of the promotion. We have Rio, not Riho, from AEW. The first ever inaugural AEW Women's World Champion is Rio. This is what the name spelled RHIO. So get that? She faces against Lucy Sky. So basically, they're fighting for who's going to be facing the champion, whoever walks out in the main event. But anyway, the match was pretty good. I'm not going to lie. It was a pretty good opener. But I wasn't too sure much who was going to walk out. But a part of me, I seen Rio, her work on not only in Eve and other places. And for those who don't know, WWE does have an interest in her. Not sure for sure if they're really going to try to sign her. She even did a tour with Seedling before. But anyway, she was able to pick up the win by applying the small package pile driver. And just like that, she's a #1 contender. So that means whoever walks out as the winner, she'll be facing. But we'll get to that. Our next match, we have a tag team match. We have Session Moth Martina and Sky Smithson taking on Manipulation, consisting of JC Storm and Vanity. Now, some parts of the match, it seems like, Smitten and Martina were not getting along on the same page, but they understood they had to win the match. But you can tell Manipulation had a little bit of the momentum, but in the end, it was Smitten with a lariat on JC Storm, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. However, during the post-match, it seems that Smitten was questioning Martina's capabilities as a wrestler, like trying to tell her, are you the same person that people remembered? Are you still that person? So that kind of puts it out in a question, but we'll see how things will roll from there. Now, our next match, we have Anita Vaughn taking on Queen Aminata. Now, if you're not familiarized with Anita Vaughn, she has wrestled not only in the UK, but also in Europe. I have seen her on WXW, which is, of course, the German promotion. Queen Aminata, well, we all know why she was there, because she was participating in the Forbidden Door, but it was great to see her. So the obvious question, who's going to walk out? Now, mostly when you think of this promotion, you would think Anita Vaughn, who is the homegrown, who is, of course, most likely well-recognized person will win. But however, Queen Aminata has been well-recognized throughout the world, not only with AEW and Ring of Honor, but also, of course, in other places like Japan, possibly the UK, wherever she's been recognized. And she took her out with her head outside the ring. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, she picked up the win. Now, our next match is a #1 contendership for the Eve International Championship in a absolute chaos match. We have Nina Samuels versus Ray Leverkusen, I think, hopefully I pronounced it right, versus Trish Adora versus Billy Starks versus Bozilla. Now, of course, many of you know Bozilla. She's been gaining attraction ever since she made her appearances, not only in Stardom, but also in on the Forbidden Door, and not even also so, she even made appearances in Eve, and that kind of sets it up that people are behind her. Now, of course, many people would have assumed that she was going to walk away with the win, but nope, it did not happen. However, Nina Samuels, a member of the Cutthroat, was able to pick up the win thanks to distraction by Abby Cartwright, and she pinned Trish Adora, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. And of course, she's being felt disrespected by the fan base, who are not behind her due to the fact that she picked up the win, but it is what it is. Our next match, we have a tag team match. We have the Sisters of Sin. We have Julia Hart and Sky Blue taking on Safari Reed and Millie McKenzie. So it became in more of an aggressive type of match. They've been going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, tried to determine who walks away with the win, and that kind of went overboard on that scenario. But unfortunately, this match ended in a time limit draw after 30 minutes. So basically, nobody win. But I wouldn't be surprised if somehow Sky Blue and Julie Hart would definitely want to have another match against Safari Reed and Millie McKenzie in the near future. So we'll see what happens. Now our next match, which is our main event, is for the Eve Championship. We have, of course, a special guest referee involved, and it's everybody's favorite referee in AEW. We're talking about Aubrey Edwards. Yes, folks, the same Aubrey Edwards that got in the face of Jericho multiple times, and you may have known her reputation as one of the best referees you can get behind on. So she was asked to be the special guest referee on this particular event. So the competitors is the challenger, former AEW Women's World Champion, the second AEW Women's World Champion Nyla Rose, taking on the champion Nightshade. So yeah, so it's an interesting match to see. Now, of course, this is more of a powerhouse type match, and I think that's where it was kind of leading on to the entire time of the match, but I thought it was a pretty good one. But unfortunately, Nyla Rose was able to pick up the win on the, of course, with Nightshade when she did a senton bomb, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, new champion. And of course, we know that probably Riho will cash in her opportunity for a shot of the belt. Now, before I end, some of you may question this thing, J-Rod, is Nyla Rose was still with AEW? Well, Nyla Rose mentioned in an interview that yes, she is still with AEW. She's on a rotating ship where, of course, they're giving some wrestlers time to shine. So that pretty much sums it up right there, in case anybody asks. But yes, hopefully we get to see her again at AEW again, but only time will tell. But as of right now, we're officially done with Pro Wrestling Eve. Let's move on with, of course, with day one of RevPro 13th anniversary with Global Wars UK. Okay, RevPro. This is day one of the 13th anniversary show called Global Wars UK, and this took place on the 22nd of August. Now remember, this is one of 2 days, and this is before, of course, the Forbidden Door, in case anybody wants to learn the timeline. Now, we opened up with, of course, singles match. We have Francisco Akira taking on Leon Slater. Now, keep in mind, this is the match that, if you guys remember, I mentioned this is where he injured himself and put himself sidelined. So the match was pretty good, exactly like your typical, of course, cruiserweight, junior heavyweight type of style match, if you guys are into that. So Leon Slater was able to pick up the win when he applied a 450 splash, because I noticed he didn't do the Swanton 450, which is the most recognizable move, and of course his own move that he uses to combine the 450 and the Swanton bomb. But pretty much that's how it ends. Now our next match, we have Alexis Falcon taking on Persephone. Now, of course, this entire match was pretty interesting because it seems like these women were going back and forth with you. When you think this match was over, you would have thought, okay, Alexis Falcon had this one under wraps. And then you thought the same thing about Persephone. But the real madness happened is when, of course, Alexis Falcon just had enough. She's like, oh, hell no, I had enough. So she uses a chair on Persephone, and this allowed her to be disqualified of the match, and allowing for, of course, Persephone to win. But, of course, she decided to hurt her even further. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Zoe Lucas comes out to rescue, of course, Persephone. And then it was just too much until Amira showed up and beat the crap out of her. And, of course, Alexis Falcon just ran off to the hills. So, as the old saying from Iron Maiden, run to the hills. Yep, that's what she did. So, basically, Persephone may have walked away with the win, but at least she had help to deal with, of course, the mess with Zoe Lucas and Amira. Now, our next match is for the undisputed British tag team titles. Now, this is an interesting one. We have GYV, the Grizzled Young Veterans, Zach Gibson and James Drake, taking on the Young Guns, Ethan Allen and Luke Jacobs. Now, what is interesting about this match, from what the commentators mentioned, is that GYV are solely responsible for training the Young Guns. So this is a matter of teacher versus student. So, of course, many people would say maybe the teachers have the ability. I mean, we've seen what the GYV are all about. They like to cut corners. But the Young Guns are the types who's like, are going to keep on fighting until there's no more breath to take. But in the end, it was Ethan Allen who picked up the win on James Drake. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Young Guns retained the championship. And not to mention, they tried to show respect to their former mentors, but they just were not having it. They just walked away like, screw that, that sort of thing. Now, our next match, I have to say this is the match of a technical aspect. We got Chris Ridgway taking on the man, the myth, the legend, Blue Panther. Now, of course, everybody knows Blue Panther. You know his reputation. Of course, Bryan Danielson is a big fan of him. So you'd probably say this is going to be a good match. But however, this match turned into a hellstorm because Ridgway did something very disrespectful. He removed Blue Panther's mask and then he pinned him. Totally disrespect. So I wouldn't be surprised if Blue Panther wants another shot of him. But we'll see what time will throws in. Now, our next match, we have Connor Mills taking on Heatstorm Yuya Uemura. I thought this match was pretty good because, of course, Yuya Uemura is coming up on his own, trying to say, I'm not going to be like Tanahashi. I'm going to take myself even further what Tanahashi couldn't do even back then. So that's exactly what he was going to do. And that's exactly what he did. He applied the deadbolt suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it's over. Now, this next match is a title versus title. Winner takes all match. We have the Discovery Wrestling Women's Championship. Emerson Jane defending her championship to defeat the RevPro Undisputed British Women's Champion. And that is, of course, CEO. Yep, Mercedes Moné, as you know, collecting the belts. And not to mention, to try to break Ultimo Dragon's record. Now, of course, many people would probably presume Emerson Jane would definitely could win and bring the belt back to RevPro where it originally belongs. But of course, Mercedes Moné somehow came up on top when she applied the statement maker, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. She has gained another belt. But however, she has some company at the post-match, and that company is Alex Windsor and her faction known as Cutthroat Collective, consisted of not only her, but also Nina Samuels, Sapphire Reed, Mercedes Blaze, and Abby Cartwright. So basically, she is on uncharted territories. But luckily, of course, Mercedes had an ally, and that ally is someone she defeated before, and that is, of course, Kanji. Kanji had her back, and of course, it led into a beautiful relationship between those two. So let's see how things will progress. We know that the Mercedes will be teaming up with her and Danny Luna against the members of Cutthroat. Now, before anything, it was announced that Yushin Thunder Liger has been inducted into the RevPro Hall of Fame. So it's a huge honor, of course, for a legend like Yushin Thunder Liger, well recognized in the world of pro wrestling as one of the best junior heavyweight competitors. But however, his ceremony was interrupted by Ricky Knight Jr. He just showed up and then he started attacking him. And then, of course, his opponent for the following day, Shaw Samuels, showed up. But apparently that things didn't go according to plan because Ricky Knight Jr. is determined to end his career and prove it that he is nothing to him. So we'll see how that pulls up the following on the following review on that one, since we're going to be doing that. Now, Mercedes Blaze showed up, who is a member of the Cutthroat, decided to take matters in her hands to deal with Athena, and that's exactly what she tried to do. But unfortunately, Athena got the upper hand on her when she applied the submission. And then, of course, during the post-match, she was talking about Mina. As you all know, she'll be facing her at the Ring of Honor Death Before Dishonor pay-per-view, which we already did. telling her what she's going to do, or until Mina showed up with a kendo stick. But Athena, being the coward she is, she run through the hills. But that leaves, of course, her minion, Billy Sarks, in the crosshairs, being, of course, attacked by Mina with the kendo stick. So you probably can guess how that turned out. Now our next match, which is our semi-main event, we have Jay Joshua taking on, of course, the Stone Pitbull, Tomohiro Ishii. Now this was the battle of the Haas, if you guys know what I'm talking about. These are two guys who will go brute force, powerhouse, however you want to throw. But the obvious question is, who's going to take down the other? That's always been one of the things when it comes to these type of events. And that's exactly what we all expected. But in the end, it was Tomohiro Ishii who walked out with, of course, the Brain Buster. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, over. So that's how things end. Now for our main event, we have a 10-man tag team all-star match. Team number 1, we have, representing the Bullet Club War Dogs, Robbie X. He teams up with Cowboy Way, consisting of Thomas Shire, One Call Manders. They team up with Echiseto, and then of course the Proto Star, or should I say the Proto Moron, Kyle Fletcher. They take on Zozaya, Speedball Mike Bailey, Michael Oku, the wrestler Katsuyori Shibata, and of course the Ace, Hiroshi Tanahashi. Because as you all know, this could be, of course, the last time we get to see him in the UK before his retirement at the start of 2026. Now, of course, you all know how this match was going to be. It's going to be chaos. It's going to be brutal. I mean, referee has his hands full because he has to keep an eye on 10 individuals. I mean, not only in the ring, but also try to do it outside interference, which is crazy. But in the end, it was Tanahashi who picked up the blow when he applied a high-five flow onto One Called Manders. And just like that, 1, 2, 3, the Ace picked up the win for the final time, being, of course, in the UK. So, well, he will be at the main event. He was in the main event of Forbidden Door, so you know what I mean. But anyway, he did put out a promo. I'm not sure, I kind of fell asleep on that part, but everything went well for him on that particular event. So I have to say, it was a pretty good show. I'm not going to lie that. Now let's move on to our last and final review, continuing with more with RevPro, with day 2 of the 13th anniversary show. Okay, we continue with day 2 of RevPro's 13th year anniversary show. Now, we already did day 1 with the Global Wars UK. Now, this is the actual one. Now, this took place on the 23rd of August, a day before, of course, a Forbidden Door, but this one was right before, of course, the Pro Wrestling Eve event. So I decided just to put the RevPro shows together. That way, it's much easier for everybody to understand. Now, our first match, we have a 6-woman tag team match. We have the ladies from Cutthroat Collective, Alex Windsor, Nina Samuels, and Sapphire Reed taking on Danny Luna, Kanji, and Mercedes Moné. Now, as you all know, Alex Windsor is coming for Mercedes Moné's TBS Championship, but at the same time, they're trying to find a way to get back the RevPro Undisputed British Heavyweight Women's Championship back. But you probably would assume, because Cutthroat has 2 extra people on their side, they would have figured out to cut through and make sure they win their matches. But unfortunately, it was Mercedes Moné with the the money maker onto Sapphire Reed, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, of course, it was over. Mercedes and her team picked up the win. However, in the post-match, apparently Alex Windsor was dissatisfied how things went down until Cutthroat Collective decided to turn against her. Well, it has nothing to do with the loss. It was more about, hey, you're going to another place, so we don't need you anymore. We're going to do things without you. So that sort of thing. Now, before our next match, which is a title match for the RevPro Undisputed British Cruiserweight Championship, we have, of course, a legend in the junior heavyweight division / cruiserweight, however you want to put it. We have Yushin Thunder Liger, who wanted to be part of this, knowing that there's going to be a match. So we have Robbie X, many of you know him from the War Dogs, and of course the champion Nino Bryant. Now, I'm not too familiarized with Nino Bryant due to the fact that I have not been keeping up that much with RevPro. But however, he seems like a good uh, cruiserweight champion, but also I don't know. I'm not too invested in him. But I'm just gonna skip ahead about how it ends. Nino Bryan was able to pick up the win when he applied a body splash, and just like that, 1, 2, 3. I didn't find that as a cool thing for a finisher, but it is what it is. Now, our next match is a Great British Tag League Finals. We have Cowboy, one called Manders, and Thomas Shire taking on Jay Joshua and Connor Mills. Now, of course, this is part of whoever walks away will take on the undisputed the British Tag Team Champions, the Young Guns. So it's like kind of like we see with Tag League and all that, but it is more of the elimination style. But the match itself was pretty good. Like, these guys threw everything at each other to trying to find ways to pick up the win. I wasn't too sure where they were going to go, but in the end, they were able to overcome it when they applied a double submission onto one called Manders. Jay Joshua applied a crossface, while Connor Mills applied an ankle lock, and just like that, one called Manders just tapped out. And of course, we have this year's Great British Tag League winners. But of course, it does not end there when Young Guns, our current tag champions, show up to make a statement saying, we know you're coming for these titles, so I dare you to make that. So that's exactly what took place. Now, our next match is a women's match. We have Emerson Jane versus Persephone. Now, of course, Persephone did have a match earlier before and won by disqualification, but this match had nothing like that. She faces against Emerson Jane, who is currently in a state of funk after losing her championship to Mercedes Moné. But nothing too special. But this match ended with, of course, with Persephone applying, of course, a Razor's Edge, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, as you probably may or may not have heard, they had the RevPro Hall of Fame. They've been announcing people to be inducted, and this year they have Matt Kurt Chapman. I have seen many of his matches before. Sadly, he's not here to, accept the award. I forgot to accept it on his behalf, but it's great to hear that he got inducted. So, good job, man. Now, our next match is a very interesting one. We have Will Carver, Mark True, and Kirion Lance teaming up with Echi Seto. They take on SPF, Maverick Mayhem, Danny Black, and Joe Lando, and they team up with the man, the myth, the legend, Blue Panther. Now, what you guys need to know, SPF come out in blue jump gear, and they were wearing Blue Panther's mask. Now, Blue Panther himself, on the other hand, the mask that he was wearing, it was all white, but the part of the face part of the mask was blue. So that way we know who it is. But the one thing that was interesting, Echi Seto was disrespected by Carver, True, and Lacey. Like, Echi Seto was ready to go to kick ass, but it seems these guys are like, sorry, dude, get back in line, that sort of thing. But I think their arrogance is the reason they lost their match, because Will Carver ended up in a submission by Blue Panther, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, no, submission, they just tapped out. And of course, I'm sure Echi Seto's like saying, see, this is what happened when you're being arrogant, but that's how it is. But one thing that was cool is someone commented that it seems that Blue Panther adopted these guys, SPF. I mean, it feels like he did, in some ways. But what's cool is that they took off their masks, present who's who behind the mask, and of course Blue Panther did the same thing. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool to have people who look up to Blue Panther, despite if you're a younger generation who haven't seen him or been part around when he first came, you know what that means. So it's pretty cool. Not to mention, Gideon Grace said he thought it was Bryan Danielson because of what happened in All In Texas. So you know what I mean. But yeah. So anyway, we move on. Our next match, we have JJ Gale versus Yuya Uemura. I thought this match was pretty good. Not to mention Yuya Uemura trying to showcase what he can do. As you all know, he is trying to not be the replacement for Tanahashi, but the guy who could definitely fill in his shoes when he retires, and that kind of sets it up right there. And of course, he pulled it up by applying the deadbolt suplex, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, it was over. Now, our next Hall of Fame inductee for RevPro is James Castle. Now, I'm not much familiarized with them, but I am familiarized with the fact that He is the late husband of Zoe Lucas. Many of you probably wondering, yeah, is this the same reason Zoe Lucas came back to wrestling? I would like to assume so. I mean, she stopped wrestling due to the fact that in 2019, James Castle had, of course, some health issues, which, of course, led to maybe years later to his passing. But I have to say, it was great that Zoe Lucas, and I'm going to presume either his side of the family came to accept the award on his behalf. But yeah, so it's great to hear that. Now our next match, well, this was not supposed to be a match, but it became. We have Sunshine Machine, TK Cooper, and Chuck Mambo, who felt like, why we're not involved in this anniversary show? We've been part of it. We are one of the pillars of this promotion for years. And of course, the team that responded was Crew, Action Andretti, and Leo Rush. Now, to be honest with you, I don't know if this is the right choice, because it seems like Sunshine Machine turned into heels, and you put another team as a heel, it's unnatural. They could have put another team, like, let's say another team that could just step up and kick their butts, that sort of thing. But no. But the match went into a decision where, of course, Sunshine Machine just walked out, and the whole thing became a count out. But yeah. Now our next match, we have Josiah facing Zack Sabre Jr. This was a dream match, I think, for him to have, because he is stepping up his game as a technical wrestler. Now remember, Zack Sabre Jr. is dubbed as the technical wizard. He can put you in a submission in a second's notice when he sees an opening that he feels he can put you in. And that's exactly. And Josiah, throughout the match, tries to pick his brain during a moment's notice, try to figure out, okay, how are you going to put me in a submission? How can I escape from your clutches? And that's a pretty good moment to see that. But however, it was not enough until Zack Sabre Jr. put him in an armbar, but not in a traditional sense. More like, while Josiah was standing, somehow Zack Sabre Jr. applied an armbar, and just like that, he tapped out. And Josiah did a promo. It seems like he might be taking a break or so. It's not like he's retiring. It's more like, see you later, but not a goodbye. That sort of thing. Now, our next match, we have Michael Oku versus Leon Slater. Now, from what I've been hearing, Leon Slater has never defeated Michael Oku, and this is I don't know how many times he lost to him, maybe twice. People would always say third time's a charm, which of course plays out. But man, the match was good until Leon Slater, first he applied a 450 splash, and then the Swanton 450, and just like that, 1, 2, 3, he picked up the win. He finally got his win over him. Now, our next match, which is our main event, is for the undisputed British Heavyweight Championship, but it's more of a title versus career. Ricky Knight Jr., the nephew of Saraya, formerly known as Paige, defends his championship, and he faces against Shaw Samuels, who's putting his career on the line. But of course, RKJ will do whatever it takes to ensure he retires him, like tells him, you're done, bro, you're no longer useful. But he tried to do that by applying this, getting the ref hurt, and of course using the belt. It did not work until somehow Shaw Samuel was able to overturn into a pinfall. 1, 2, 3. Shaw Samuels won the RevPro British, the undisputed British Heavyweight Champion. I have to say, pretty good. So we'll see how things will roll. So that's pretty much what happened in RevPro. So we'll leave things as it is and move on to our last thing, which is news updates. So let's get to it right now. Okay, so welcome to our news update. So let's begin as always with upcoming events. Now, as you know, we have Action Wrestling with their upcoming event, Theme 3, that'll take place on September 6th. Now, they announced, of course, Shwaya. You may remember him. He was the one who faced Lee Moriarty in the ROH Pure Championship match at Death Before Dishonor. Well, he was announced to participate in this match, which is, of course, called Maestros de Maestros, more like a submission match of 2 out of 3 falls, that sort of thing. But it's a very interesting concept, so I think it's going to be fun. GCW announced for the Rumble on the River that will take place in Minneapolis on the 13th of September. Matt Cardona will be in action to take on Indianapolis' very own Nate Webb. And then finally, Jersey Championship Wrestling with Possession on the 26th of October. The Luna Invitational, 2 more names have been added. On number 7, we have Billy Starks. Number 8, Emerson Jane. Now on to some developments here, of course, on our news updates. Jeff Jarrett went on told TMZ that he said that he would love to offer Travis Kelcer, who is now Taylor Swift's fiance, a wrestling career in AEW after his NFL career, which is kind of interesting hearing from him. I mean, I don't know exactly what he will offer him, but I don't know what Travis Kelcer would say. I mean, what do you guys think? Do you want to see him wrestle? I mean, we know we've seen football players become wrestlers. I mean, we had Bill Goldberg himself, Michael Mongo Smith, like Michael, something like that, a few others. But yeah, you probably know what I mean. Oh yes, many of you remember Skyo Stu, who was the individual that ended up in the hospital thanks to Roger Jackson. Well, good news that he has been released from the hospital, so thank God that he's okay. Still no indications about what's he gonna do now that he's been released from the hospital. I'm sure we'll stay close to this more. I'm sure that people are looking for something that will put Roger Jackson behind bars or whatever, because we know that recently Roger Jackson's name has been put through the blacklist or something. But yes, we'll keep more updates on that level. Kurt Angle talked about on the mic check with Mr. Anderson about something interesting. He said that his TNA career was way more better than WWE. So some of you might say, what? Really? Well, that's what he said, folks. Just don't shoot the messenger. And this is what he said. I'm going to tell you right now, I had a much better career at TNA than I did with WWE. And I was there a lot longer too. Most of my career in TNA, a lot of WWE fans didn't see me. Now that I have a partner, they have a partner, and they both invested in each other, I think eventually WWE is going to buy the TNA library. So yeah, I mean, yeah, I think he feels like his career is way more better than he did in TNA. And of course, there are the partnership. And I'm sure people are saying, there's still some people that believe that TNA will be bought off by WWE, which is something that has been talked about time and time again, but we'll see how things will progress. Now, Tetsuya Naito, as you all know, he's a free agent. He is no longer with any promotion. He's been appearing in some promotions where he can. Recently, he was in RevPro for Summer Sizzler, and he talked about doing a U.S. tour, but apparently things are not going well for him, and this is what he said. Due to various circumstances, it was recently becomes clear that it will be difficult to obtain U.S. visa within the year. Until now, we have been planning our U.S. schedule in mind, but for the rest of the year, I think we'll prioritize other offers from Europe. Yeah, guys, as you all know, here in the U.S. is becoming difficult, because of the whole mass deportation, and not to mention foreigners who've been coming into our country are being questioned, because let's be honest, okay, there are people who are coming to explore our country. They're not here to live in. They're not here to, do anything. They just want to see the sights, enjoy the good food or the good scenery. And of course, we have international wrestlers who are trying to come here to wrestle, to showcase their skills to us, and it's becoming very difficult for some people. For those who know this, Yuri Namba, who was the ring announcer for Tokyo Pro Wrestling, she mentioned that having a visa to be here in the States was difficult. So it's still unclear how difficult it is. We don't know when will be the next time we'll see Naito coming here, but hopefully things can resort itself. But if not, then too bad, we lost an opportunity on that. So we'll just wait and see. But until then, for right now, we are officially done with our reviews and our news updates. So let's just call it a day. Well, I hope everybody enjoys this episode. Coming up, as you probably know right about now, we'll be doing, of course, NXT. We'll be following more on what's going to happen for the next pay-per-view, which I think it will be No Mercy. So we'll be seeing what battle lines are being drawn. Now, if there's any other events that I might want to review, I'll see for that until later. But for right now, this is what we're sticking to. And if there's any, and I'm gonna try desperately to catch up with Tokyo Shoko Wrestling and Mighty Gold and every other ones that I can try to do. But as of right now, we'll leave things as it is. But until then, I will see you guys in the next DWZ time, same DWZ channel. I'm gonna bid all of you adieu. So, goodbye, and have a nice day. Bang.